North End are third in the table. Just let that sink in. Third in the table. But does that now mean that we should be going back to the owners and asking for a little bit more investment than they were previously planning? Welcome back to Gentry, Walker, Etienne, Harvey and Joey. Fresh back from watching North End hang on against Oxford. We've got fans now saying, well, things like this. Samantha says, so many people saying you won't stay third, but it's so important to be in that position close to January. It gives the club a real question to answer. Are they going to be backing Hecky in the January window? We're sat in third, still in the mix. It could be the deciding factor to splash the cash or not. Good debate coming up on that. Stay tuned. Plus, we're also talking about, if I took your house off you to win it back, I said pick a Preston player from the past to score the penalty. Who would you choose to win your house back? We'll get the fans here's view on all of that in a second. Plus, we're talking about our FA Cup draw as well. It's on a Friday night as well now. What's our thoughts on all of that? And we're up to the letter J, of course, which could be one of our goal scorers from this weekend that the team decided to put in our A to Z of North End. Hope you're doing well. Good weeks, everybody. It's not been a bad week at all. We'll talk about commentary as well, shall we? As well in a second. But let's focus on the main question. Harvey, we know that they haven't got funds and it's likely there's going to be loans, but does this represent North End's best chance to finally escape this league, and therefore can we go and find some cash to make it happen?
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? I think it's a case of, it's like if not now, then when? Do you know what I mean? I think this is probably the best chance we've had in a really long time for North End, and I think that Hecky is showing that although he can do it with limited funds in the squad, it's always going to boost your chances if the board say, look, listen, we like what you're doing with the squad so far, we like where we are, here's a little bit of extra cash to just help you get over the line, that little extra bit. So I think that even if it was to just stay in the long run in January, just to make sure that we've covered all the bases, is obviously we've got a few injuries so far this season, then I think that given how the recruitment window has gone so far, I trust Hecky and the team to make the right decisions, and I think that whatever he decides is still going to help the team, but obviously that little bit of extra cash always goes a long way.
Joey, what's your thoughts? I mean, no one saw, but not even the board saw this coming. Not even you saw this coming, I imagine, at the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be quite important to do this because you expect teams like Ipswich, Southampton, and probably even teams like Stoke just also thinking the same thing and investing heavily in January. So it's a case of not just helping ourselves to stay in that position. It's actually just making sure the other teams around us aren't getting too much of an advantage against us. But I think there's going to be other priorities as well in the January window, which is going to be to keep as many of the loan players as well. Some I think it'd be good to maybe try and see if we can get them on a permanent, because I think if you then leave it to the end of the summer, then other teams will see how well they've done this season and we'll go from next season. The obviously big ones, Armstrong, obviously he'll probably end up in Everton's team next season, but if we can keep him in January to the end of the season, that'd be absolutely massive. I know there's a few issues there, obviously with Dewsbury Hall picking up an injury on Saturday, so it might be out of our hands, but I think we should just definitely fight as much as we can to keep the core of the team. But as Harvey said, there is a few areas I think we've managed well, to be honest with you, without, I'd say, the spine of the team. You've got probably, I'd say our best centre-back in Gibson out, arguably our best striker in Osmajic, and arguably our best centre midfielder in McCann out. And we've got through this really tough period of fixtures and we've actually done really well from them. But how sustainable that is over a 46-game season, I'm not sure. So it'd be nice to see just a bit of ambition. I've seen it in 2007-8 when we were top of the league under Paul Simpson and we didn't strengthen in January. And I saw it under Alex Neil in 2019-20. We didn't strengthen, and what happened is the core of the team got dismantled in the following summer, and then we just went down. So it'd be a very shame if we do that again, because I really believe in this team and I believe in the manager, and I think, as I say, this is probably, like you said, our best opportunity yet.
Yeah, let's just have a look at it, shall we? I mean, yeah, it's just nice to see, isn't it? really good to see. Even as a neutral, it's great to see. You got to think. I mean, Etienne, if you look at the others in there, Hull can't invest because they've got this transfer embargo still in play. Ipswich is going to spend. We know that's probably going to be the case. Millwall won't have money to spend either. So, of those around you, you're not the only one. Bristol City won't be able to spend even if they were in it as well. They've already come out and said that. So do you look at that and think, yeah, keep the current squad, get everyone back fit. We have got a proper chance, and actually investment perhaps isn't as much as needed as perhaps some make out.
No, because you've still also got teams below who will be able to invest and will be able to just pump money into the squad. And at the end of the day, if they've got stronger squad depth, they will probably catch you like Southampton's, like your Norwiches. The league is so tight that it's still a possibility that teams fighting relegation right now will be up and around you. So, look, the teams around us might not be able to strengthen, and we know the position that we're in, that we're not maybe able to strengthen as much as we like, but we've got to look at our past mistakes and this season and go, this is the best chance for us to go up in years, because it is such a weak division in comparison. And the fact that we're third with a squad that is sort of built around loans, we've really got to go out and go, either we try and keep all the loanies we got and strengthen the positions that we then can avoid. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. If we can go get out and get another, like a centre back and another like attacking player on loan, and then say to the loan players, look, well, we want to keep you around. Let's see what kind of deals we can hash out until then we can keep the core of our squad and keep pushing, because I think the squad that we've got represents a really good chance of us going up this year.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a chat about the games then, Phil. Let's start with Oxford. Harvey, yeah, the Rowett curse finally broken as well, which is a nice one to cross off. Yeah. Who impressed against Oxford?
No, because I think even Stuart McCall said it himself. It's 3 points, but it was quite a patchy performance. I think that in the first half, especially, I think there was like too many misplaced passes. There was a real lack of composure for me. But again, it's week after week. I think we're saying the same thing. It's not really about the performances anymore. It's just about getting the points on the board in a really tough league, and we've gone to a Gary Rowett team who always beat North End and never lose to North End, shall I say. And we've come away with 3 points, and we sit third in the table, and realistically, that's all that matters.
Yeah. We got to talk about one fella though, Joey. Paul says, when I first saw the stats about Jebbo, I thought he was a risk signing, but oh my goodness, he is proving me wrong. And we were talking on the Watford podcast earlier about the letter J, and they were like, I just cannot believe that Preston's sitting third with Jebberson as the top scorer, because he was awful at Watford. Hecky's revolutionised the guy.
Yeah, and I think he is a sort of player who just needs his arm around him. I think Hecky's probably the best player to do that. He's a player, he's a manager that Jebbo knows from his time at Sheffield United. I just think he's the way he's playing is. It's more than just, like I think after seeing Reece last year, who he had the ability, but he was so frustrating at times to watch because he wouldn't run for that, for that final ball. He wouldn't challenge the defender, even if his height difference was much greater. He wouldn't close down the man when we're trying to see out the 1-0 win. But Jebberson's just fighting out for everything. And I think the fans actually really appreciate that. Even if sometimes, he may miss a few odd few chances. I think if they can see him playing for the shirt, I don't really think it matters. And he put his absolute heart and soul into that game on Tuesday night. And I was so worried on Saturday that he was just going to be absolutely knackered, because he put absolutely everything into it. And to be honest with you, I think he was still probably one of our better players on Saturday as well. So fair play to him. He's definitely earning his place now. And to be honest with you, I think Odds Mike is going to find it a bit of a struggle to get back into the team with him playing the way he is.
We have to stay neutral on here, Tim, but I've got to be honest. I think the whole footballing world was delighted when Jefferson scored against Coventry on Tuesday night. Have you ever heard Deep Dale that loud in such a while?
No, I feel like it was just for me, it was kind of like a very good defensive performance and a very typical Preston North End performance against top side, where we've gone out, smashed and grabbed, and got a point from a situation where when Lindsay got sent off, I was thinking this could be a cricket score here because Coventry have threatened. The game was looking quite balanced, but had you right, had missed loads of chances. Lindsay got sent off, and you're thinking, oh god, Coventry are going to break the floodgates here. But whilst Coventry did apply the pressure, and they probably should have scored a few more than they did, we did so well to score, and Jebson's finish was brilliant. It did come out of nowhere, but Paul did all the work, and then after that, it was just we locked them down. Coventry didn't look like they were going to score again, and their goal was one of the worst goals this season in the fact that it was going nowhere near the target, and Hughes couldn't have done anything about it. He's just stood there, and the ball's gone off him. So it's a very unlucky performance in the fact that we probably could have gone and got another goal, but in the circumstances, it's a very good performance. I would take a point all day against Coventry.
Yeah, it just keeps that hoodoo going, Harvey, as well, doesn't it, against them?
Yeah, I think that was, like I said on here, I was more than nervous. And just watching the game, like Etienne just said, like Coventry were applying an awful lot of pressure, and obviously the Lindsay red card, you're starting to panic even more than I originally was. So to get a point and obviously just to keep the hoodoo going is just brilliant.
Yeah. And staying with you, Harvey, because I know you've had a lot to say about this fella as well. 100 up for Mads Funcho. Yeah, a word on him.
Yeah, I'll just say what I've always said. I think that the standard of midfielders has definitely been set to a higher bar this season. But I think that with the patience and just watching Mads and what he can give you and just playing their balls into the final third, there's not really another player in the team who can do that for me. I think that North End are so good at playing exceptional football in different areas, especially like the wide areas. But for me, I think I'll sing Mads praise all day long. Obviously, I'm really happy he's at the club, and I think that he brings an extra bit of creative spark. If the likes of Devine or Dobbin was to come off, for me, I'm not looking at Mads and thinking, oh, he's not going to bring anything to this game. So, yeah, for me, he's just one of our top midfielders.
Cool. We really appreciate all the comments that we've been getting on this channel in recent weeks. If you haven't yet done so, please hit the subscribe button. There's tons of other Preston channels I'm sure you can watch, but if you can just squeeze 20 minutes in, listen to these 3 every week, that would be absolutely amazing as we grow this across our network as well. Cheers for doing that. This week we're focusing on penalties, Joey, because there's been so many missed penalties in the Championship this season, statistically more than in previous years, certainly in this side of this decade. If I took your house keys off you and stole your car and said you could have them back only if a Preston player scored a penalty, who would you bet your car and house on? You can have past and present players.
I think there's only going to be one answer for this because he's probably the best penalty taker in the world ever. So, although I will caveat that and say on his first spell at us, because his second spell, I think he did actually miss a couple of penalties. But at this point, it was 38, 39, so you've got to forgive him. But Graham Alexander the Great. I mean, his penalty technique was just unbelievable. The way he just ran up to it and just pelted it every time. Bottom corner, accuracy, power, no keeper in the world saving them. And he had a great record for Burnley, pretty much the reason why they got promoted when they did for the first time. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's beat Alexander. But there's a few other good players, Johnson, Gallagher. You've got to say they also were pretty accurate as well. So we've had some good penalty takers down the years.
Etienne?
Yeah, I was just thinking then, and I did have, your Alexanders, your Gallaghers, and your Johnsons, but I was just having a thought then. I don't think I ever saw Joe Garner miss one apart from against MK Dons when Alex Ravel saved it, the midfielder when he was put in there. But I don't know, I think that them three are kind of the Garner, Johnson, Gallagher, the names I immediately think of. And if I had to pick one, it would be Gallagher because that run up is just iconic. Him turning away from the ball, running up, smashing it. I don't think it ever failed apart from, I think, Shrewsbury, where he put it into row Z one time. But yeah, I think I put it on Gallagher to get my house back.
Okay. And Harvey, from the current squad, who'd you put your house keys on?
Oh, that is a current squad, bloody hell. we've not really had that. I don't think we've had. Have we had any penalties this season? I don't think we have. From the current squad, I'd probably just give it Osmajic. I think I've seen him take like 2 penalties, and he just runs up and just whacks it. So, from the current squad, yeah, Osmajic would probably be mine.
I think Michael Smith's supposed to take him as well, but
I won't trust
at the moment, there was.
Right then, let's look at Norwich for a second if we can. Joey, playing them at the wrong time here. We spoke to them this week. They are properly up for this game. I can tell you they've got the bit between their teeth. Philip Clement has come in, really steadied the ship. Sargent scoring again as well. Have you just caught them at the wrong time, do you think?
Not sure really, because when is the right time to play a team in the Championship? I just think the way we're playing at the minute, our home record, you could say our home record recently hasn't been that great, but I look at Norwich's last 8 away, even with Clement, they haven't won 8 in the last 8 away from home. They started the season really well at away, and then it was the home games that they were struggling with it. This under Clement, it seems to be the opposite. So hopefully that trend continues. But yeah, as I say, if we can, I think this week, having a week's rest will be really, really advantageous to us, because I feel like we were starting to get a bit leggy, and I think those games we were very lucky, basically because of that, because we were putting all in, and then you could tell, especially against Oxford, if that game went on for another 10 minutes, I think Oxford get at least an equaliser. So I'm hoping with a week's rest, maybe another couple of players coming back, I think we've got to fancy our chances. We're flying high on confidence, and to be honest with you, if we're going to be in the playoff picture, we've got to be winning games like this. I know that's a bit of a cliche, and I know probably teams have said that about us in the past, but home fixture against bottom 3, regardless of whether they've started to pick up a bit of form, I still think we should be winning it.
Cool. Okay. Etienne, you weren't here last week, so I want to get your reaction to the FA Cup draw. Please, a certain old friend coming back to visit.
Yeah, I like it. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot better. Whoever in a TV place has decided that Preston v Wigan is suitable for a Friday night kickoff needs sacking immediately, because what on earth? Why are we on a Friday night? It might mean I can go for a change, to be fair. But at the same time, it's going to be a great matchup. I think Ryan Lowe will get one of the worst receptions ever at Deepdale, and we just have to hope it doesn't get into our players' heads too much, because I do think Wigan are one of those teams where on their day they could come to Deepdale and take a smash and grab FA Cup victory, so we just have to be careful.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be surprised, Harvey, at the level of vitriol that's going to be sent his way? He seems a very arrogant man when he's been interviewed on TV.
Well, yeah, but I watched an interview he did with BBC Sport the other day, where he said that he's been exchanging messages with Peter Ridsdale, and he's got all sorts of fondness for the club, and you just think just give it a rest. I think I'm gonna follow up what Joey and James said last week. Obviously, I just thought he was a very arrogant manager. I think that a lot of his interviews and a lot of the things he says are very much copy and paste. I don't really think he's got a general tactic in when you play football. I didn't really feel like watching an offense side we really had an idea of how to defend or how to score goals. Really, it wasn't something you could easily pick out and say, "Oh, this is Preston North End style of football." So I wasn't his biggest fan. I'll probably just give him some stick. I'm just kind of hoping that we win, so that I can go on Twitter the same night and say, "Well, it wasn't for the lack of trying, Ryan." And see you later.
all the old cliches coming back. Brilliant. Right then, we're up to the A to Z of North End then. You two escaped I last week, which was a really, really tricky one, but we got Invincibles in there, Joey, I think, in the end, didn't we? Is that right? Yeah, we got Invincibles. Right, Jay then. What are we going with here? Etienne, kick us off.
I had one in my head, but it was just the first name, so I'm not going to pick that one. I am going to go with someone from the current squad, and that is Jefferson. Ultimately, I don't think he should make the A to Z because he's just a lone player, and I don't think he'll be outstanding. But because I really, really struggled for names, and I'll probably be shown up by these two. I am a big fan of Jefferson's. I'm a big fan of his work rate, and he seems to come up in clutch moments. And I think to be a fan's favourite player, that's what you got to do. And yeah, I've just been impressed by him, and I've been proved wrong by him. So Jebson.
Okay. I mean, you put yourself in before Jefferson, wouldn't you, really, in terms of longevity? But we go, Joey?
Yeah, I definitely would say Jefferson because, I mean, half the season, our fans pretty much written him off. And then, yes, he is having a good spell, but I think it's a bit too early for that.
I can't underline how much I struggle with this letter.
There's two names, and I'm really struggling which one to go for.
Bear in mind, you're a lot older than me, so just...
Not that much older, bloody hell. Well, one of the names we've mentioned, in fact, Etienne recognised the name, was Daniel Johnson. That's so he's obviously forgot about that one. And then the other one, probably maybe just before your guys' time, maybe not, I don't know, but Billy Jones, because I thought he was an outstanding player, and he's one that actually ended up in the Premier League. Very rare actually for a Preston player to actually end up in the Premier League after they leave us. They end up usually going on a bit of a downward trajectory. But he played well for West Brom when he played for them in the Prem. And yeah, I think he won Player of the Season one year. He was very versatile, played right back, centre, defensive midfield. Chipped him with quite a lot of goals as well for a defender. So yeah, and it was some of his time here. We were quite good. We reached the playoffs with Ellen Irvine, and then I think his last season we got relegated. But yeah, I think I'd actually give him over DJ, but DJ's I think a close second on that one. No, Daniel Johnson, not Jefferson.
Harvey.
Yeah, mine was obviously Daniel Johnson. I've got really, really fond memories of him. Obviously, a really good club servant. And in that, especially in the Alex Neil period, we definitely saw his best football. I just think that he was a player who was incredible on his day. It probably would have been my past penalty taker because I just love the mind games that he always used to do before it. So yeah, Daniel Johnson gets mine.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll put Daniel Johnson then. He went to Stoke, didn't he? From you, if I remember rightly. Didn't work out like that. Wonderful. Right, Kay next week then. Join us for that. Also, we'll look back on that Norwich game as well, and then we'll give these lot a bit of a Christmas break. How's that sound? Join us for one more next week. Thank you very much, you three. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in 7 days' time. Have a great week, everyone.